Welcome into college football now. National Signing Day is upon us. We're going to get into those top 25 recruiting class rankings in just a moment as the day gets going here. But first, let's take a look at some other notable class rankings. TCU making the jump from 40 to 28. They flip a four-star receiver from Texas in the past couple of days. They're approaching a top 25 class. USC all the way down at number 82. They brought back Clay Helton. Not looking good so far. Number 83, Utah all the way down there as well. Virginia Tech way down there. Arkansas at number 120. Only have 6 commits so far. They got to get things going over in Fayetteville. National Signing Day. Got to get back on track today. Today's show, guys, we got some gear deals for you with our partner Fanatics. Chatsports.com/NCAA gear. Tons of gear for you guys, up to 50% off. Look at these sweet Alabama shoes. You got Clemson jerseys. All your favorite teams' gear on sale right now. Chatsports.com/NCAA gear. Speaking of Alabama, speaking of Clemson, they'll be coming up later in this video. Let's get into the top 25 recruiting rankings for you guys. Number 25, the Iowa Hawkeyes. No change from last week's update for you guys. They have a couple of 4 stars in this year's class. At number 24, we got Kentucky. Mark Stoops getting it done in Lexington, pulling in another top 25 class. We'll see if he can seal the deal later today. Number 23, how about the job Jeff Collins is doing at Georgia Tech, entering his second year as the head man. Obviously, they struggled this year, went 3-9, but he's got 5 4 stars, 23 players committed in this year's class. That's a good job for a team transitioning from the triple option to the spread option, to the spread offense, I should say. 24/7 composite points there. That is the point system for you guys. Basically, the higher 4 and 5 stars that you get, the higher point system for 24/7 sports. That's how they calculate things for y'all. Number 22, Mississippi State. Joe Moorhead got to a bowl game again this year, trying to get back to where they were under Dan Mullen. Better than 6-6, I'll say that. 21, we got the Stanford Cardinal, David Shaw. Lots of weird stuff going on over there. A bunch of players transferring from Stanford, but he's got a nice recruiting class coming in. They sit at number 21 right now. Got a question for you guys. Who will finish with the number 1 recruiting class? We'll get into the top 5, the top 10 later on in the show, but I want to hear from you guys. Who will finish with the top class? Might get hit with the YouTube ad break right here. If you do, just scroll down to the pinned comment. It'll be this. Reply to this. Who will finish with the number 1 recruiting class in 2020? At number 20, we got the Tennessee Volunteers. Jeremy Pruitt finishing this year strong, getting it done in recruiting as well. Several 4 stars in this year's class. Scott Frost and the Nebraska Cornhuskers making a big jump. They come in at number 19 right now, getting a couple of commits in recent days. They jump into the top 20, doing a good job up there in Lincoln. Keep it rolling here. At number 18, we go to the South Carolina Gamecocks. Will Muschamp, lots of heat around him. Many thought maybe he would get fired. They're going to roll with him for another year. Top 20 class coming in right now. They're at number 18. We'll see if anything shakes up for the Gamecocks on National Signing Day as the day progresses throughout the afternoon. By the way, we'll have coverage throughout the day here on Chat Sports, so make sure you are subscribed. Number 17, Mac Brown and the Fighting North Carolina Tar Heels. He just got a new extension. He's doing a great job. Glad to see Mac back in coaching. He's reeled in a 5-star in this year's class. The Tar Heels making a push for a top 15 class. Oregon Ducks coming in at number 16. They've slid a little bit here, lost a 4-star commit, but they're in the mix for one of the top commitments in the country. Linebacker Justin Flo expected to announce later today, top 5 player, number 4 overall player in the country, number 1 linebacker. Oregon, Clemson, USC, Miami, all reported to be in the mix. Lots of people think Oregon and Mario Cristobal are going to scoop Justin Flo. That would be a major scoop for the Oregon Ducks and push them into the fringe of a top 10 recruiting class. That would be a major get for the Oregon Ducks. Now, if you guys are LSU fans, Ohio State fans, Bama fans, we have team recruiting content for you guys. You got to subscribe to Chat Sports, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. Hit the big red button. I mentioned LSU. We got Ohio State recruiting videos for you guys. We got Alabama football recruiting videos for you guys. Stay make sure you subscribe and stay tuned, because throughout the day, as National Signing Day progresses, we're going to have lots of videos on the channel for you guys. So hit that big red button so you know when videos go up on the channel. Top 15, let's go to the Miami Hurricanes as they sit at number 15, trying to get things back on track after Mark Richt left a couple of years ago. Up and down season in 2019, have a nice class under Manny Diaz coming in for 2020. So they sit at number 15. The Washington Huskies at number 14 kind of were surprised when Chris Peterson announced his retirement. All of a sudden, he's going to coach in the bowl game. They got a nice class coming in at number 14 as they try to get back on top of the Pac-12. Brian Kelly and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish come in at number 13. Tons of 4-stars coming in this class, a couple of 5-stars as well. Brian Kelly getting the job done on the recruiting trail for the Fighting Irish. Penn State come in at number 12. James Franklin, he's been a good recruiter for a while. Hasn't quite been able to get that top 5 type of class that he would like to get. That is reserved for another school in the Big Ten. We'll get to them in a little bit. Speaking of the Big Ten, Michigan Wolverines, and you see it on the bottom of the screen. Subscribe to our Michigan channel, youtube.com/MichiganTV. The king of Michigan media, James Yoder, he's going to be live later on today on the Michigan channel, so make sure you go subscribe. Right now, as they sit, as National Signing Day gets going here, 24 commits, 13 4-stars, no 5-stars as of yet. We'll see how many of these players officially signed today. James Yoder will have you guys covered throughout the day. youtube.com/MichiganTV. Make sure you go subscribe over there. Speaking of Michigan, I told you guys earlier, Fanatics got lots of good deals for you guys. Chatsports.com/NCAA gear is the link. You got the quarter zip on sale. You got Texas hoodies. Texas fans, I know you guys are watching. It's the same link for all this stuff, guys. Chatsports.com/NCAA gear. Tons of great items on sale today. And speaking of the Texas Longhorns, as we get into the top 10 here, Texas, they slid a bit in the last week or so because the TCU Horned Frogs were able to flip 4-star wide receiver Quentin Johnston, which slid Texas down from number 10 to number 7. 16 players coming into this class. Tom Herman, not a ton of players, but he does have a 5-star running back, B. John Johnson. 12 4-stars. He did lose Johnson, like I said, to TCU, so they slide from number 7 to number 10 in the last couple of days or so, looking to secure that top 10 class today. 2020, big year for the Horns and Tom Herman. I mentioned Quentin Johnston. This is the type of player they lost. Top 70 overall player, number 13 overall receiver, kid out of Temple, Texas, Gary Patterson, Sonny Cumbie. They're able to flip him in the last couple of days. He will sign with TCU later today. Number 9, the Auburn Tigers. Gus Malzahn ended the season strong with the big win over Alabama. They did lose off the field to Alabama, though, as Nick Saban was able to flip Javion Cohen, the offensive tackle, in the last couple of days. So Auburn slides from number 8 to number 9. Still a very good class, though, for Malzahn and company. They're trying to secure a top 10 class, maybe make a push for a top 5 class later today. The Oklahoma Sooners come in at number 8. They move up. They get a 4-star over the weekend. 13 4-stars in Lincoln Riley's class. 20 players committed overall. No 5-stars. Bit of a surprise, but tons and tons of 4-stars. Lincoln Riley's getting it done. Quarterback Spencer Rattler expected to be his starter next year. He was a 5-star commit from last year, so keeps plugging away up there in Norman. They're back in the college football playoff again this year. If you look at their class rankings in the composite, again, they're number 8. ESPN has them all the way down at number 12. 24/7 Sports has them at number 10. And Rivals has them as the 11th best class in 2020. But again, the composite all the way up at number 8. Lincoln Riley doing an excellent job once again on the recruiting trail. Speaking of Oklahoma, speaking of the college football playoff, if you want to go bet on the college football playoff or the Sooners, got to do it with our betting partner, BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code CFB120. Sooner fans, your big dogs, 14-point dogs. 76 is the over-under. I'd be hitting that over. I think lots of points going to be scored in this one. Again, got to use our promo code CFB120. LSU big favorites in that one. If you want to bet on the other playoff semifinal, Clemson, Ohio State, this one's expected to be a lot closer. More defense should be played in this one. Tigers 2-point favorites. Over-under set at 63. I can't get myself to bet on this one. It is just going to be too close. I've already placed my money on the other one. Not going to tell you which one. That's up to you guys Chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code CFB120. Go bet on all of the bowl games throughout the college football bowl season. Top 7 here, Florida Gators. Dan Mullen, I think he's doing a terrific job at Florida. I think they're very, very close to closing that gap with Georgia in the SEC East and retaking claim to the SEC East. 24 players committed, 16 4-stars, number 7 class right now. Just added a 4-star safety, Rashad Torrance, the second out of Marietta, Georgia. Top 350 player, 4-star safety. Expect him to contribute on special teams as a freshman, but beefing up that class, they were able to jump Auburn over the weekend. Number 6 class here, the Georgia Bulldogs. Not a ton of commits, but a lot of high-quality players. 16 players committed, 2 5-stars, 12 4-stars. They sit at number 6 right now, and they're also in the mix for a couple of top 10 guys. Now, keep this in mind. Keely Ringo is not going to sign today. He's not going to sign today. He has actually not announced when he is going to sign, so it could be all the way up until the February deadline for Ringo. So I'm not sure if he's going to sign, but Georgia seems to be in the lead for him right now. Number 8 overall player, the top cornerback in the country. That would be a huge get for them. Now, Darnell Washington has decided when he's going to sign. It's going to be at the Army All-American game in January, so in a couple of weeks or so. Georgia seems to be the favorite on him. If they're able to land both these kids, they will jump the number 5 team as we sit right now, which is the Texas A&M Aggies, for that 5th-ranked class in the country. A&M holds on to number 5 for now. 22 commits, 1 5-star, 12 4-stars. They have a quarterback, Haynes King, coming in this year. Many believe he is going to be the type of quarterback Jimbo Fisher has been looking for. And they got to find a quarterback if they ever want to be in the college football playoff, because Kellen Mond is too inconsistent. Interesting question for you guys. We've talked about Texas A&M. Which Texas team will make the college football playoff first? If you think it's Texas, type UT. If you think it's Texas A&M, type A&M. If you're asking me, I'll say Texas, because I think the path is easier in the Big 12. A&M, just the SEC West is a gauntlet, so I will take Texas, but I don't think either program is necessarily super close. I think they're both at least a couple of years away from being in the mix. Number 4, and the top 4 are all very, very close, by the way, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Did a video in the last couple of days that's up on the channel for you guys, breaking down this class. So you Buckeye fans, go check that out here on Chat Sports. 25 players, 2 5-stars, 14 4-stars. Ohio State's going to be wide receiver U. That's what we're going to call him pretty soon, because they got the number 1 overall receiver, who happens to be the number 2 player in America in Julian Fleming. They brought in Jackson Smith and Jigba. 4 of their top 7 commits are wide receivers. Speed and talent everywhere on the outside for Ryan Day in this year's class. He's doing a great job. Their focus right now is on the college football playoff, but watch out in 2020 and beyond, because there is a ton of talent coming in for Ohio State. Speaking of Ohio State, once again, chatsports.com/NCAA gear. Look at those hoodies. You got to get some gear for the college football playoff. Buckeye gear up to 50% off if you go to that link. Also, LSU gear. You got to get some gear for the college football playoff, you Tiger fans. Chatsports.com/NCAA gear. You can get various items, t-shirts, hoodies, quarter zips, shoes, all kinds of stuff up to 50% off. And speaking of the LSU Tigers, Coach O is getting done. It's the year of Coach O, number 3 recruiting class in the country, 23 commits, 3 5-stars, 14 4-stars. They're knocking on the door of our top 2 teams, which we'll get to in just a second. Coach O's had a great year. LSU's having a great year in recruiting on the field in 2019. It's been fun to watch as an outsider. We'll see where they end up at the end of signing day today. Question for you guys, who will win the national title? We've referenced the playoff a couple of times here. LSU faces Oklahoma, Clemson, Ohio State. Out of those 4 teams, which do you believe will win the national title in 2019? For the 2019 season, I should say. The national title game will be played in 2020. But who's going to win the national title for this season? I'm riding with LSU. I think they've had a terrific season. I know producer Alicia is going with the Clemson Tigers to repeat. Want to hear from you guys in the comments section. Final 2 teams here. We got Alabama at number 2, which you guys know who number 1 is. We'll get to them in a second. They've been going back and forth. Bama, 25 players committed, 3 5-stars, 18 4-stars. Very, very close to Clemson. Quick look at the Crimson Tide's top 3 guys, all 5-stars here. Bryce Young, watch some tape on him. He looks like a undersized Deshaun Watson to me. He's a terrific player. Chris Braswell, that guy will be playing on Sundays, coming off the edge here in about 3 years. And then Drew Sanders, keep this name in mind, athlete, played a ton of positions in high school. I think he'll play linebacker for Nick Saban, has some latent Van Der Esch in his game. Very rangy type of player, covers really well on defense. I'll be curious to see where he ultimately plays. Think it'll be linebacker. If you look at Alabama's class rankings in the composite, they're number 2, ESPN number 2, 24/7 number 2, Rivals number 3. Very, very consistent across the board, but a lot of number 2s mean they're behind number 1, and that is the Clemson Tigers, on the verge of putting together one of the best recruiting classes of all time. 22 commits, 6 5-stars, 10 4-stars. Plus, they might be getting another 5-star in Jordan Burch. That's the rumor, that they might be landing Jordan Burch, number 5 overall player, number 2 defensive end there. You look at their recruiting rankings, number 1 across the board, guys. Clemson, Dabo Swinney. I said it last year when they blew out Alabama in the national championship. Clemson is the new face program in college football, and until someone beats them in recruiting in the national championship, in the playoff, that is going to remain the case. Alabama, Clemson keep going back and forth, but it appears Clemson is going to finish with the top recruiting class. Quick recap as we go through the top 25. Iowa, Kentucky, Georgia Tech, Mississippi State, Stanford at number 21. 16 through 20 here. You got Tennessee, Nebraska, South Carolina, North Carolina, Oregon. Top 15 we go. Miami, Washington, Notre Dame, Penn State, Michigan. Again, if you're a Michigan football fan, make sure you subscribe to our Michigan channel. We will have coverage later on in the day. Top 10 classes from 10 to 1. We got Texas, Auburn, Oklahoma, Florida, and Georgia. And then the top 5 classes from 5 to 1 as we sit right now as National Signing Day gets going. Texas A&M, Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, and Clemson. I asked it earlier. I'm going to ask it one more time. Who will finish with the number 1 recruiting class by the end of signing day? Let us know in the comments. We'll have coverage throughout the day on recruiting as National Signing Day unfolds. Hit that big red button. Subscribe, youtube.com/chatsportstv.